Saturday, 3 o'clock. Could this be the game of the year? Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to my NRL round number 10 tips. Now, we do start off at Parramatta. I'll be there tomorrow night in the Swarm. The Parramatta Eels taking on the Dolphins. And when these sides have met, the Dolphins last year getting a big win in Darwin, Parramatta getting a big win at Sunshine Coast, not Redcliffe, in 2023. So often big scores with these ones. Now, Jeremy Marshall-King is out for the Dolphins, and that brings Kurt Donahue into jersey number 9. Sam Tuivasa is out for the Parramatta Eels. He's out for an extended amount of time. On the bench is Dylan Walker, Luca Moretti, Jordan Samrani, and Matt Dury coming in. On the bench of the Dolphins is Ray Stone, Mark Nichols, Josh Kerr, and Sean O'Sullivan. Now, the Dolphins obviously lost to the Raiders 2 weeks ago in a great comeback game there. And then they've lost to the Roosters over the weekend. They started off the year really poor. They had this little form dip where they were looking good, beating some top sides in the Panthers and the Melbourne Storm. They played really good in both those games at home. Now they have to travel a bit. They obviously lost in Magic Round, familiar sort of stadium at Suncorp. This is their first time, I believe, playing at CommBank Stadium. If not their first time ever playing at CommBank, it's absolutely their first time playing against the Parramatta Eels at CommBank. But I don't know, for this game, I actually think Parramatta can get up for it. I haven't tipped Parramatta for a little while. I tipped Cronulla last week. I think Parramatta win. I'm going to go the Eels to win this game, 26 points to 18. I think it should be a high-scoring game of footy with plenty of flowing points. My first try scorer is going to be Bailey Simonson. There's been a lot of tries on the edge of Josh Addo-Carr. I'm going to go the opposite. I'm going to go the Bailey Simonson to get a try. And I am going to back anytime try scorers this week, as I have been killing it in some multis that I've been putting up on the feed, on Entertain House feed on Sportsbet. I'm going to go with Connolly Lemuelu for the Dolphins to get a try. Eels to win by 8. Next up from Newcastle, it is the Newcastle Knights taking on the taking on the Titans. Now, as for the Titans, Tom Weaver is out. The halves of AJ Brimson and Jaden Campbell. Jaden Campbell returning for this one, and Jojo Fafita returning on the wing as well. As for the Knights, they look unchanged. A really good win against the South Sydney Rabbitohs. They were missing a lot of players, and I still tipped them, and I felt really, really stupid. They were blown out of the water. A nice performance from Ponga last week. Bradman Best, Dylan Lucas back, looking like a nice side again. We'll see what they can do in 2025, but I'm still not convinced that they are the real deal for mine. In this game, though, I'm really worried about the Titans this season. I wasn't early on, but now the more I've seen, they're really falling down that ladder. And then the injury concerns are really big as well. David Fafita, obviously out of form at the moment, so look, I'm going to go the Knights to win 13+. I think they win and win well at home here. I'm going to go the Knights 26, the Gold Coast Titans 12. They've been known for their attack, the Titans, but I think they're struggling to score points lately. So, yeah, Knights by 14 points. First try, I'm going to go with Bradman Best on that left edge. And anytime try scorer, I'm actually going to go the Knights, and I'm going to go with Dylan Lucas as an anytime try scorer. Next up, it is the South Sydney Rabbitohs at home. They are in 13th position after a month of losses up against the Brisbane Broncos, who sit in 5th. And the Brisbane Broncos have been hot and cold, win-lose this season. And I haven't been too impressed with them for the most part. I actually thought they were a premiership threat. I don't know if I think that anymore about this team, and I think they've still got a lot to prove in 2025. Now, Latrell Mitchell back at fullback for this one, pushing Jai Gray back into jersey 14. Peter Mamouzelos is out for this one. Sylvia Havili comes into jersey number 9. I don't know how I feel about that as a starting hooker. Look, there is a world where the Broncos can win this game 13+ in Sydney against a Rabbitohs side that is missing Cody Walker. There is a nice inclusion in jersey number 7. Jamie Humphries is back. Really nice inclusion there. UNA can shift from the centres to the back row, and I think he'll be more fitted there because he was getting exposed for mine in the centres. But man, Brisbane was suffocated by Penrith last week. And, they lost the game against the Warriors a few weeks ago. They've been hot and cold. They lost against the Roosters. I can't trust them to win 13 plus. I do think they can sneak this game out though. I think they can bounce back. I'm going to go the Broncos 28 points to 18. A bit of a high scoring close game. I think the Broncos will be a little bit too good for the Rabbits. First try scorer, I'm going to go the left edge, Jesse Arthurs to score the first try. And anytime try scorer for the Bunnies, I feel like Fletcher Myers might bag himself a try. Oh, this game of football, this could be the game of the year. I can't wait for 3 o'clock Saturday. I was so tempted to get down there in Canberra. I've now seen that there's less than 1,000 tickets left. I'd have to get up at 4, 5 a.m. in the morning just to get to this game. Oh, this is going to be a cracker. It is the Canterbury Bulldogs taking on the Canberra Raiders. It is first versus second, and it's second hosting first. Now, both of these teams, very similar lineups. Now, Jacob Preston has been named in jersey 12. However, he's suspended for 4 weeks. So I'm going to assume that Kurt Mann or Curtis Moran will probably come into jersey number 12. And then maybe probably Lipai Hopoi maybe comes into the bench. We will see what happens there. The Canberra Raiders, man, that was an incredible win against the Melbourne Storm. They were down and out and they just rolled the dice and got the victory there at the end. It was pretty tough refereeing in that game, if I am being honest, in that game and the Eels-Sharks game. But for the most part, the refereeing was pretty good at Magic Round, especially compared to that previous week. Both of these sides have shown that they have good defenses, especially the Bulldogs. Are the Bulldogs going to let the Raiders outscore them? I don't know. Do I trust the kicking of Jamal Fogarty just that little bit more than Stephen Crichton? Yeah, I do. He's a very good kicker. Can the Raiders continue this run of form that they are on and finish in the top 4 and potentially push for the minor premiership? Maybe. Bulldogs, man. Bulldogs, they beat the Titans, a good win last week. They get back Matt Burton. They don't get back Tupanua. I'm going to go the Raiders. I'm going to do it. I'm going to go the Canberra Raiders. And I'm actually shocked that they're favourites because their form has been fantastic. They are at home, but I think the Bulldogs deserve to be favourites here with the inclusions back. So I'd love to see the Raiders drift out to around $1.90 price, but I'm going to go the Raiders, and I think it's going to be a very low-scoring game. I think it's going to be a cracking game of football, not too many points in it. First try scorer is Raiders by 2. Raiders 14, Bulldogs 12. This is going to be an all-timer. First try scorer, Sebastian Kris to score the first try of the game for the Raiders. And I reckon that Stephen Crichton, in those big game moments, he's going to crash over down there in Canberra. I think the Bulldogs just fall short and the Raiders continue a rich vein of form. Next up at Wollongong at 5:30 Saturday, it is the St. George Illawarra Dragons hosting the New Zealand Warriors. Now, as for the Warriors, Edward Cozzy and Rocco Berry are out. Dallin Watene-Selesniak is back for the Warriors in a massive boost there. Kurt Capewell named in the centres once again, not in the back row. Leka Halasima and Murata Niokore make up the back row. Really nice debut from the Warriors in Samuel Healy. Like what I saw of him in his small minutes last week. Jacob Laban, Dimitri Vaimuga and Bunty Afoa make up the bench. And Dragons fans, well, the bench is Jacob Little, Jack DeBellin, Luciano Leilua, and you're finally getting the NRL debut of Loka Pacifica Tonga. And you wait till you see this bloke. He's an absolute unit, killing it in Cup. And this is his chance to really stamp it and earn a spot in this team. Dylan Egan has been in great form as well. He's obviously got that starting back row spot. And Lycan King Togia had a nice game against the Tigers last week. But, you know, in the end, errors cost them. And I'm actually really worried about the Dragons here. I think if they make too many errors, regardless of at home, even though Emre Gula is out for this one, I still think they're just a little bit weak in the forwards. I don't know what it is. I know Hamish Stewart scored a try last week. I don't know if he's done enough for me to be the starting lock. And I think Jack DeBellin should be in that lock spot from what I saw last week. Love the inclusion of Jacob Little off the bench, but I do think they should start a game with Little and move Cook to the bench. I know the spark is there with Jacob Little, but I'm just wondering if he can play 60 minutes rather than playing 25 minutes. So, look, I'm going to go with the Warriors, 13 plus here. I think they're playing really good football. I think they're a very underrated side in 2025, and I think they get a good win here. Warriors 30, Dragons 16. It should be high scoring. The Dragons love to concede tries to fullbacks, so Chance Nickel-Cookster to score the first try of the game. And let's go with debutant Loka Pacifica Tonga to reach out and crash over and get a try in his NRL debut. Next up from Townsville, Saturday 7:30. This is going to be a cracker. It's the North Queensland Cowboys taking on the Penrith Panthers. Are the Panthers back? What a game from the Panthers last week. And they welcome back Mitch Kenny in jersey number 9. They're going to look even better in attack, in my opinion. Luke Summerton ain't it. And Mitch Kenny brings a lot to this side. Luke Summerton has been dropped for this one. Now, Tom Jenkins has been named on the reserve as Brian. I didn't even know Brian To'o was back. That is a massive inclusion for the Panthers. So you've got To'o back, Garner still in the centres there. You've got Blaze Talangi Cleary, Mitch Kenny in jersey 9, and Papali'i in the starting back row in place of Scott Sorensen. Now, as for the Cowboys, Ruben Cotter is out for this clash. So Jason Tamalolo starting prop with Sam McIntyre in jersey number 13. Now, the Cowboys were very unlucky to lose against the Warriors last week. At one point they nearly tied that game, but just their poor start cost them. They're going to be up for this one. This game's in Townsville. I'll tell you what, part of me earlier in the week said the Panthers absolutely kill them here. They're back. They're going to want to score points. I actually didn't know the players that were back for Penrith before I wrote down my score. I am going to stick with my score, though. I think I'm going to respect the Cowboys a little bit at Townsville, and I think they're going to stop the Panthers from getting a massive, massive score on them. So I'm going the Panthers to win by 12. The Panthers 26, the Cowboys 14 in this one. Some massive inclusions. First try scorer, I think it will be Liam Martin running over and scoring the first try. As for the Cowboys, I'm going to go with Reece Robson to score a try at any time. He's going to want to get himself into a Blues jersey, and what better way to do it with a good performance. Next up, it is the Melbourne Storm versus the West Tigers. Now, Nelson Asafa-Solomona has finally been named for the Storm via the reserves, and the West Tigers look to be unchanged from what I can see here. The Tigers, man, they are a good team this year. They're sitting in 8th position right now. They're paying $5.10 to win this game, and they are going to be up for this one at Amy Park. The Melbourne Storm are coming off a shock loss to the Raiders. They look very vulnerable right now. I'm so used to seeing the Storm bounce back and put 40, 50 points on a team. I don't know whether they can do it. They look so different, especially without Harry Grant right now in attack. Pappenhausen looks really good. That kick to Pappenhausen. There's still some good plays within this team, but there's something missing that's stopping them from going to the next level. And I'll tell you what, I give the Tigers a massive chance at winning this game at $5.10. But I just don't know if the Tigers are going to handle a hostile crowd of Amy Park, of Storm supporters giving it to them all game. And I'm just so used to this bounce back of the Storm. We saw it against the Sea Eagles, I think it was. They just bounce back. They always do it. And I think they do it again. As I said, I give the Tigers a massive chance, but I just don't see it. And I feel like the Storm do have points in them if they can get things right. And I think Jerome Hughes is going to get 6 Dally M points this week. I'm sorry, Tigers fans. You're having a great year. This is a backward step for mine. I'm going the Storm to win by 26 points. I'm going the Storm 42 to the Tigers 16. I think they will be a little bit too good for the West Tigers. I could honestly see this game being a 6-pointer, but I'm just so used to Storm lose. They bounce back, especially Amy Park. Be scared of them. But yeah, they just don't feel the same team. But I'm going with my gut. Storm by 26. First try scorer, Jerome Hughes. And anytime try scorer, number 14 off the bench, Tyrone Wishart to score a try. Finish off the round with the Manly Sea Eagles hosting the Cronulla Sharks. Now, it was the Sharks winning this game in Perth just a few weeks ago, and now we get a rematch at 4 Pines Park. The Manly Sea Eagles are fresh on this one, coming off the bye. Gordon Chan Kum Tong is out for this one. Jake Trbojevic is back, and Jason Saab has been named as well. So some big inclusions there at Brookie. As for the Sharks, Sifa Talakai is out. Bench of Atkinson, Colhoun, Braden Hamlin-Ueli, Thomas Hazelton, and the bench of Manly reads Talau, Waddell, Bullymore, and Brown. Just checking if there's anyone else on the reserves worth mention there. And obviously Jake comes back at jersey number 8 up against Adam Fanua-Blake, because James Tavaga gets jersey number 13 against Cam McInnes. Well, the Sharks, they were a little bit lucky to win against the Eels last week. I thought that call against Bailey Simonson was absolute bullshit, but I'm not here to continue talking about that. Some of the refereeing decisions of that game were absolutely awful, especially when we had the momentum at 22 points to 18. I didn't think the Sharks played that well, but I thought Parramatta at the start of the game were really shaky. They came out and showed that they had some fear in that game, and that really worried me. They can't play like that against a side like the Dolphins this week. But the Sharks, they were able to get the win. They're sitting in 6th position. They're like the Broncos. They're hot and cold. Are they going to be better than last year? Are they going to be just about the same team? Manly Seagulls sitting in 7th. They're going to want to be on the rise. Tom Trbojevic at home. I'm going Manly to win. I do think this will be a very, very tight game. Manly by 6. Manly 22. The Sharks 16. This should be a great game of football. But I see the Manly Seagulls getting a dub here. First try scorer, I'm going to go with Jason Saab to score the first try. And anytime try scorer, Sharks number 6, the grub himself, Braden Trindle. Those are my tips for the NRL Round 10. It is Women in League round, so make sure you watch your games with your mum, your sister, your grandma, whoever you can. Make sure you like this video and let me know your tips in the comments below. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Go Para, let's get a win at CommBank Stadium, and I'll see you guys later.